So in an ideal scenario, we would be milking these cows about 2 hours post-calving. That seems to be the best balance between milk letdown and quantity of colostrum without compromising on the quality as well. So it's quite a specific window, but if you can aim for around 2 hours, that is the best balance. Preparing the udder for milking for the colostrum is vitally important as well, not only to remove any gross contamination of faeces, but also we're trying to stimulate her to help with milk letdown, try and prevent bimodal milk letdown, and therefore reduce her chance of mastitis as well. We want to feed the colostrum as soon as it's harvested. Okay, any extra colostrum can be placed within a fridge, label it when it was collected, DAM ID, quality and quantity that's left. And we were talking about earlier about protocols on farm. Quite a lot of good farms will have a colostrum harvesting protocol on the wall so that all our workers are on the same page and know how to treat these cows well. So once we got our colostrum, certainly one of the first steps is to check the quality of it to see whether it's adequate for feeding for these calves. There's two main ways to check the quality of colostrum. At the end of the table there, we have colostrometers. So we fill the cylinders with colostrum, place the glass colostrometer in it. It needs to be at room temperature because this is a measure of density. So it has to be at room temperature because the different temperatures affect the density of the liquid. Once we place the glass colostrometer in it, you need to give it time to settle. Really poor quality colostrum, it'll sink right down. Good quality colostrum, it'll help float it. So in both these cases here, we are in the green gradient, which is normally considered adequate or good quality colostrum. Red and amber is considered poor quality, it should not be used. However, quite often the colostrometer overestimates the quality of the colostrum. So if I skip through maybe a few of these, that will help us. Okay, so generally overestimates the quality of the colostrum. We can therefore use the Brix refractometer, which in my opinion is the far superior method of trying to measure your colostrum quality. And it just is a little device that looks like this. Place a tiny drop of the colostrum on the window, give it 15 seconds to settle and look through the viewfinder. You'll get a scale like this here, and we're using the left-hand side scale, the Brix scale. So the higher the better, but your cutoff point is 22. So if you look through your viewfinder and you see this image, it wouldn't be good enough quality colostrum to feed to the calves. And although both these samples here at the end are reading adequate in the colostrometer, on the Brix refractometer, they're not adequate. One was 15 and one was 20. So it just shows you how much that there overestimates them. And I genuinely would encourage anybody to go onto eBay and buy one of these for £15 and keep it on farm and use it. The other benefit with this one is you can measure it cowside. You don't have to be temperature specific as well. So colostrum intake is very variable, and as people we would like to take control of that so that we can ensure our calves have got the right 10% of their body weight. So one of the most common ways to do that is via stomach tube or feeding tube. So there's a few key points to consider when using feeding tubes there. One of the main points is to measure from the tip of the calf's nose to the back of its elbow, and that's the length we would like to insert the tube by. Standing position of the calf is better than sternal recumbency, but we must never do it when they're lying flat on their side. Massive risk of regurgitation, aspiration pneumonia, and trust me, it's invariably fatal. Ensure your clip is locked on in your stomach tube before you insert anything, just in case any part of this here leaks down into the airway before you get it placed correctly. And when we have our calf in standing position, it generally is easier if we have their wee bums reversed into a corner so that they can't back away from us. You want to raise their head slightly, introduce the tube, the corner of the mouth, nice and slowly, give the calf a chance to swallow. The golden point of this here is feeling for the stomach tube placement in the calf's neck. So you will feel the tube pass down the left side of the calf's neck when you're in the right place, when you're in the esophagus. If you're in the windpipe, because it's a rigid structure, you'll not feel it. Sometimes in cold weather, it's beneficial to heat the end of the stomach tube to make it slightly more flexible. And certainly, You don't want to hold the bag as high as possible, because even though that'll speed up things for you, it can make it quite uncomfortable for the calves. So you're only really looking for a couple of feet higher than the calf is. Once you're finished, just remove the tube in one smooth action. Make sure that it's completely empty and there's no fluid left within the last few inches. A 4 litre bag is ideal, so you're sort of looking at your perfectly udder, or these more solid ones are all 4 litres. And that's simply because you don't have to reintroduce the stomach tube more than once. Or if you have the capability, or if you have somebody spare to help pour in extra into the 2.5 litre sort of normal standard stomach bags, these move at 2.8 litres. So you can get somebody to help top that up while you're holding the calf. We really recommend you change your stomach tube every 40 calves or every 3 months, whatever comes sooner. Always check them for damage. This one here is quite damaged. It's been chewed on pretty well. These are a risk to cutting the calf's throat down the esophagus, causing tears, also harbour bacteria, and quite often can splinter off. And then you need a wee operation in your calf to get them back out. You always want to feed your colostrum at 38 degrees as well. I think that was touched upon earlier as well. So this is a wee picture that I pinched, and it's just to show the pearly coloured, cream coloured tube is the windpipe, and it's the solid structure. So if you're in there with your stomach tube, you'll not feel any difference in the neck. The meaty looking tube is your esophagus, and as you pass your tube down, you'll feel that distinction going down that tube, and that's how you know you're in the right place and you're at no risk of being in the airways. And then just to reiterate, measuring from the point of the nose to the back of the elbow, that's just roughly the line you're following. This is the calf we have at home. I measured it. She was 21 inches from the point of the nose to the elbow. She's not particularly large. So that's quite long, and you would want to mark that on your tube. So you would, so it would be about that there. I think quite often people think they go to this join and that's long enough. But when you actually measure it out, it's much, much more you need to go in. If you only go in shallow like this here, even though you're in the right place, you risk refluxing back up, and you can still aspirate at that point as well. So again, it was mentioned about hygiene. Cleaning is of vital importance. You want to soak these, rinse them at 40 degrees, soak them in disinfectant and hot water, rinse them again, and hang them upright to dry so that they drip completely dry. The bacteria these can harbour, especially if the fat's not dissolved, is a lot to give, or a lot, and it's enough to give the calves scar, so it is as well. And please always keep a separate stomach tube for sick calves. There's no point in having one, treating a calf with a rotavirus with an electrolyte to then dose the newborn calf. Again, go back to farm policies. This is a very detailed one, but it makes sure everybody's in the same hymn sheet when it comes to feeding their calves. And it's just basically broken down into colostrum preparation, how to feed it, and how everybody else knows that the calf has been fed. So that was on a massive dairy in America. They had 26,000 milking cows, and over 3 years they never had one failure of passive transfer. So it just shows you policies, and making sure everybody knows what they're doing really pays dividends. So it was mentioned earlier about sucking a bottle as well. It's much more time consuming, but practicalities I see that we would struggle with at home is the calf's strongest suck reflex is straight away before it stands. And then you're looking to milk your heifer or your cow as soon as possible. However, straight away, she may be tense. She may not want to let her milk down. You certainly can give her oxytocin, but again, then you may have problems with quantity. There is a slight improvement on absorption versus the stomach tube, but again, the stomach tube is more than enough. What about the next feed? We have a lot of people always worry if the calf's stomach tube with 4 litres of colostrum, it'll not want to suck 12 hours later. Honestly, it is not a problem. 4 litres of really good colostrum will provide a calf with about 4 times as much energy as it needs for maintenance over a 24-hour period. So it's more than enough to see it safely through. And therefore, next day, it should be hungry enough to start drinking for you. Ideally, they would be fed dams colostrum for at least 3 days afterwards. If you read some of the SCAR vaccines, they'll recommend for 11 days to make sure they get adequate coverage. And although it's not absorbed in the gut anymore, it still can act locally to help prevent bacteria adhere. And some of our American counterparts are suggesting to add 200 mils of colostrum into the milk replacer for 7 days, just for that local action in the gut. And then, yes, how do we know if it's worked? As it was touched upon earlier, is testing for failure of passive transfer. That's done with a blood sample between 1 day and 7 days of age. Really recommend it if you have a vet out at a routine visit, just to blood sample whatever calves fall into that age category. And it just keeps an eye and make sure you know where you're at with everything. There's two main ways of measuring it. You can either do blood protein, which can be done in practice, or they can send off for ZSTs to the labs. And still it was saying there that 15% of all Holstein calves, despite having received 3 litres in 6 hours, will still have failure of passive transfer. And that's possibly because quality wasn't controlled at that point in time, or as stated before, maybe bacterial contamination was really high. Once you go over that 100,000 colony forming units per mil, it interferes with the antibody absorption in the calf's gut. So it's important to make sure the hygiene's right too. And yeah, sorry, just your take-home messages was your 4 litres in 4 hours, greater than 22% quality in your Brix refractometer, massive improvements in short-term and long-term health of the herd. Make sure you prepare the udder for collection properly so it's hygienic. Feed at 38 degrees. Ensure your tube's correctly placed by palpating the neck. Please do not pull your colostrum as well. It's a very effective way of spreading unis in your herd. And pasteurisation alone is not effective enough to control uni spread. Freeze extra good quality colostrum in case you have a shortage at a point in time. Label it. Try and collect from low unis risk animals, so that's test negative cows or heifers, and reheat, thaw in a water bath between 38 and 60 degrees. Never boil, microwave, or cook, basically. So that will hopefully give you some practical tips on how to get it into them.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura. I can do very practical.